So there are a lot of WNBA teams that are kind of filling out their training camp rosters. Like, if you're looking at teams, if you want to look, say, at the Mercury, I still cannot believe the WNBA site, it's been a year, and clicking on teams redirects you to tickets. I still can't believe they haven't figured that out. Like, if you're looking at a team like the Mercury, they've got a whole bunch of players. Like, they've signed 4 players to training camp contracts here, and Laxa is also there on a training camp contract. Like, they got a lot. For the Indiana Fever, the Sky have already more than their 12 fighting out spots, and for the Fever, it's I would guess that they're probably going to draft, like, with 19, they're going to draft like a Kosu, and have whoever they draft with 20, or vice versa, 9-20, same difference, and have them fight off against Jaylen Brown for that last spot. But in this video, we're going to be talking about something that I find quite interesting, and I'm going to give the pros and cons, and give my opinion on whether or not I think it could happen or should happen. And it is obviously one a little bit close to home for me, talking about whether or not a team should offer Claire Melia a training camp contract. And I'm leaning towards yes, but there is obvious bias there, and as someone who has watched Claire Melia play for the last decade in Ireland, there is definitely some bias in what I'm saying. But obviously, Claire Melia destroyed Dominique Malonga. Dominique Malonga has been Player of the Year in Euro Cup. Dominique Malonga is having literal articles written about her. I mean this. Dominique Malonga is having articles written about her by The Ringer, saying the future of the WNBA looks a lot like Dominique Malonga. They are writing articles calling her the future of the WNBA. And I'm not going to, basically calling her the female Victor Wembanyama. And I see it. The only thing is, though, again, Dominique Malonga is young, so there is going to be inconsistencies there. But Dominique Malonga has come up against WNBA players throughout her entire season in France, or at least WNBA level players throughout her entire season in France. She was pretty okay at the Olympics, and at 18 years old, as well as that, has been the best player in Euro Cup, again, dominating against WNBA players. But Claire Melia destroyed her. Absolutely destroyed her. And it's just, there's little things that I'm seeing in this game. And you can see, I've watched a couple of Claire's games earlier, earlier for Farrell, obviously, like when she played with Portlaoise, watched her play in schools finals in Ireland, where she basically played point centre. And I think it was under 16s, under 19s. I think it was under 19s. Was she under 16s or just gone from under 16s at the time? But I think it was under 19s. She came up against a stacked team who had Breanna Power Cassidy, who was Holy Cross's best player last year and is one of Villanova's best players this year, and basically point center and beat that team. Beat that Holy Faith team. And I remember watching that game. I'm like, oh my god, she might be the best player in Ireland, and she was 17, or yeah, it was definitely 19s. She was maybe 17 at the time. But watching this game, and she has been playing more inside, and I'm just a big fan. Her game looks very unorthodox, but you can see right here she's being pressured a little bit as a 6'3" center, being able to push the floor, having a bit of handle, and being able to get it to other players on her team. And again, she has that ability, and she has something that it's not it can't be thought. The patience in the post can't be thought, which is really, really important. And the ability to pass to the post. You can't be patient, over dribble, and kind of not be a passer, because if you're going to be over dribbling, be a little bit patient, and the double team's coming, you're going to really struggle, because you're going to be struggling to score with doubles. But look, she's coming up against a much bigger player in Dominique Malonga, about 3-inch height difference, much better wingspan difference. And there, it's a couple of dribbles, taking her time, and that's the thing. It's head up, looking for cutters, bump, step through, easy finish. Does not look orthodox. And that's the thing where it's Claire Melia was having, basically, Ferrol is a Cinderella story. Like, they nearly didn't even make Euro Cup, and they somehow are about to make the final. If they go and make the final, I'll make a video about that. It is literally the biggest miracle in all of basketball this season if they make the final. But it's like, it's moves like this, and she almost didn't get signed. Like, they had to be convinced to sign her because she was Irish. And it's funny because if you look at Claire when she was 18, she played at a European Championship and went toe-to-toe with Niara Sabli, was way better than Holly Winterburn, who's just been signed by the Atlanta Dream. And as well as that, like, for the Irish national team's gone toe-to-toe with top-level players, completely outperformed Laxa, who was signed by the Mercury when Ireland played Latvia. And that's the thing where it's like, is there a team that can require this type? And in modern basketball, if I'm the Connecticut Sun, I'm looking at her. If you're not going to be able to get an MMA summon type player, the only issue with the Connecticut Sun is maybe the foot speed to play at the 4 might be a little bit of an issue with her and Tina Charles, because they're gonna struggle foot speed wise. But with the way Mazian likes to play his offensive system, it's a very European style. The centers, bigs are gonna have to make a lot of decisions. They make a lot of decisions. They have the ball. They've got to be good passers. And you can see even like here, and you can see it, they're down 9-0 to Leon, who were expected to walk this competition on the curl from mid. And again, we have to take into account she is being guarded by the possible number 2 pick in the draft in this game. Pops starts off the game on a solo 9-0 run against one of the top teams in Europe. And then in the post, slow, keeping the head up, working with some pump fakes, taking it on to Malonga. And if anything, maybe like that might be the scout against Malonga, is that someone who's a patient post player might be able to cook her, to be honest. Comes in, nice and easy mid-range shot right there. Takes Malonga inside, and everything is just patience. That is the one thing where it's like, you can watch someone in a workout, you can watch somebody play when, you can watch somebody like just how their moves look, and it's like, whatever about that, it's, you can have a idea of something from highlights, but again, there is a bias there because I've watched Claire play through the whole time. I watched her play, playing cup finals for, watch her play for underage Irish teams, watch her playing cup finals, watch her basically win Super League for Leicester, watch her playing a cup final for Meteors, and obviously with Glanmire winning a cup with them, and I mean, best player, probably the best basketball player Ireland has ever produced, to be honest. Well, not born in Ireland, Pat Burke is that, but like, brought up through the system, either her or Susan Moran. Maybe CJ Fulton, but probably between Claire and Susan Moran at the minute. But like, you can just see there, it is just bully ball and one. And it's just patience. Like, taking Dominique Malonga inside, and everything is just fakes and one. She just absolutely just cooked her. And not only that, there's guard skill in there. There is guard skill in there. She's a good passer, and you're not really seeing much of it here. But if needed to, there's guard skill, hitting a 3-pointer to just get the lead up. And that's the thing. It's like, it's unorthodox. It's unorthodox. But again, she's coming up against Malonga. So clearly, like, it's something that's working. And it's like, if you just kind of watched clip by clip, you're thinking, okay, how is she putting these in? Everything is unorthodox, which is what makes her so hard to guard. She shoots a freaking skyhook over Dominique Malonga to end the game. And I've watched enough of Claire Melia to notice that's basically one of her go-tos. That's one of her go-tos. Playing for the Irish national team, she plays out of a high post, kind of a point center role. Honestly, if I'm the Connecticut Sun, there is no player that I've seen. These players might exist that I've seen that would suit Mazian's system more than a Claire Melia. Because again, it relies on on bigs being passers. It relies on bigs being able to stretch the floor. It relies on bigs being confident, not being like ball handlers breaking somebody down, but taking a couple of dribbles to be able to get from A to B. It relies bigs playing with their head up, which is something that is not very common in the WNBA. It's not. Like, I'm looking at this team right now, and they've got a big from Poland they brought in on a what I'm guessing is training camp contract. They got so many players. I don't know how many of these are going to make the team. But for me, like, I always said this for years where I'm like, at 18 years old, if Claire Melia, she went to St. Joe's, was really good, came back to Ireland, she wanted to come back to Ireland. Had she stuck it out, like, had she wanted to, she could have been a WNBA level player. Like, she was in Ireland the same year that Lou Lopez Seneschal, the 5th pick in the 2023 WNBA draft. Lou is a year older than Claire, and when they were both in Ireland, Claire was so much better. Like, again, Lou improved significantly at Fairfield and then did really well at UConn. But, like, when the two of them were in Ireland, Claire was a lot better than Lou. As good as Lou was. Like, well, I watched that Collegiate team quite a lot. But still, it was a underage league, that, or even Super League she was dominating at those ages. But, yeah, it's an interesting one, and I do think that if you're the Connecticut Sun, you got to get creative. Because the Connecticut Sun, you're looking at this team, and Lindsay Allen's a good bench player. Tina Charles, one of the greatest of all time. JC Sheldon, solid. Diamond Shields going to be fine. Mabry's a good player. Tash Clyde's going to be good, and they're going for it. If they're not tanking, which they're not doing, you go for it. And considering the fact that, again, this is, you might be saying, oh, whatever age Claire is, she's 25. Like, she is, what, a year older, not even a year older than Sedona Prince. She's like a year older than Sedona Prince, and this is like her first year playing pro ball. Like, the Irish Superleague isn't a great level of basketball in the grand scheme of things. It's her first year in the continent playing pro ball, and by the end of her first year, she might be a huge reason why one of the biggest Cinderella stories in basketball happens. And I think very specifically for the way the Sun are going to, I would assume the Sun are going to play their offense in a very similar way to how Belgium did in the Olympics. And as of right now, outside of Tina Charles, who I think can play down low, smart enough to do that, I don't think they've got a big that's going to be really capable of playing the MMA Simone role. However, like, again, I'm not saying Claire Melia comes from Ireland to Spain to the WNBA in a year and is going to be able to do that super effectively. But I think it's worth a risk. You've got a player who's doing really well in Europe. You've got a player who you're going to be able to bring in on a training camp contract, who you'll be able to get on a minimum. And I think that it's a no-risk situation if you're the Connecticut Sun. Because you're not going to be great anyway. You want to be good. You don't have the players to be good. So you have to start taking risks. You took a risk with your coach, bringing in a coach from Europe. I think it would be a smart idea to take a risk and bring in a player from Ireland who could work out, might not work out. And if it's not working out, it's a training camp contract. Like, and if you're Claire, if she wants to go over, I don't know, but it would be, maybe this is again trying to speak something into existence, but again, she just put up 27, 4, and 3 and destroyed the potential number 2 pick. So I don't think this is that far-fetched a video.